Make some noise right now!
Enter! Podcast and Chill Network in association with Grandeur presents the Road to 1 Million Subscribers event on the 30th of July 2023 at SUNBET AREANA in Pretoria. Lineup includes Kabza the Small, MacG, Musa Keys, Mpop Pops, Celeste Ntuli, Eugene Koza, and Robert Boy. This fun-filled event will include comedy, music performances, as well as a live audience conversation with MacG, Sol Penduka, and the Ghost Lady. Tickets are now available on Cricket from 295 rands. Doors open at 6 p.m. Food and drinks sold at the venue. Come and join a milestone celebration of Black excellence with Podcast and Chill Network.
They still are gonna go to the Netherlands for their pre-season. Chiefs is next door in Botswana. I don't know if that counts as international.
It is international.
It's continental.
Our group, I think it's Nigeria. I know Lesotho is in there. Zimbabwe is also in the mix.
Yeah, we always get Zimbabwe in these qualifiers, eh?
Man, we get them everywhere.
Oh, wow.
But the other thing as well, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Sure.
Get my shovel ready there, Chief.
You're already under, Chief.
He's 2 feet now.
It's 2 feet. Okay, let's go.
And we have the big boys sponsoring the goals. We have Discovery, we have Telkom, we have Spar, we
They
have,
pulled out.
you know what I mean? But, they pulled
Vitality
out. So they have a
leads.
strong pull-out game. But what I'm basically saying is that...
I was not expecting that.
Also, I feel like Mr. Gombele at some point was just tired of the threesome. It's a threesome, right?
Yeah,
I'm
you can
I'm
call
not
it
trying to be
anything.
weird, right? You know, so...
Welcome to ONSIDE ZA. Welcome to Len.
Thank you very much, Marco.
Welcome to Super Sub.
Danko,
Welcome
danko.
back. And a big welcome. First time on ONSIDE ZA. Tsepi,
Yeah.
welcome to the show. Looking forward to your
Can I
insight.
whistle? I know I can't, but like, may I whistle?
You may. Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't want to come out.
That's okay.
And welcome, most importantly, to the ballers. Welcome back. Len and I are always wrong. You like to correct us in the comments. Keep doing that. You always seem to agree with Super Sub. So keep agreeing with him in the comments as well. Welcome to ONSIDE ZA. It's been a big week. Obviously, things are now approaching the season, starting to feel like it's back. A lot of European teams back in training after their European international stint that I had a lot to say about earlier in the break. But a lot of players back, managers back, and of course, local sides back as well. So preseason really kicking off at this point. A lot of European teams over in the US.
Yeah.
This is actually the first thing I wanted to discuss. Preseason.
Yes.
Len, your views. Is preseason now currently for major European sides, is it a money grab or is it actually just good preparation for the season?
It's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Because if you check, half the teams from Europe are in the States playing against each other as opposed to playing each other in Europe.
Yeah.
So it's just, I suppose it's probably an expansion of the different brands, like the Uniteds of this world, the Chelseas, the Arsenals, and just to try infiltrate that US market.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge market.
It's a huge market. I mean,
And it's not as tapped yet.
yeah, definitely compared to the European market, where the European market currently for the teams, beyond filling their stadiums, is limited. They fill their stadiums with their own fans. They fill their stadiums with traveling fans. Like a Manchester United, you look around that stadium, how many people are from Manchester? A certain percentage, of course, made up of their own local fans, but a lot of tickets sold to traveling supporters who want to go see Man United. People like me who fly over to England to watch a game, you know, but the stadium's full every week.
Yeah.
So you're not doing the preseason tour in Manchester and inviting teams to come play you at home, as would be normal good preparation on your own pitch, you know, in your own training ground. You're not traveling for preseason. So it's a money grab.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a money grabber. like I said, I mean, there's big sponsors that come into play. Does the Audi Cup still play?
I think it still does, actually.
I haven't checked.
Because the Audi Cup usually plays in the US, where you've got like Barca, Arsenal, Chelsea, AC Milan, and all those teams going to the US to go play there. So, I mean, you can even check by the sponsors that get involved in this, is that, this is expansion of fan base, and it's also money grab.
And brand awareness, actually.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Orlando Pirates, actually, they were invited by Adidas, I think, to be that side. So,
In Spain?
yeah,
Oh.
it has to do with Adidas as well.
It's quite interesting because my view also is this. Yes, it is a money grab, but also for, local teams, I'm talking Orlando Pirates in this case, it is also exposure for them, a new fan base, but also it gives them the ability to play with different teams. You see, they're playing a team from Venezuela, for example.
Yeah.
So it kind of exposes them to a different terrain and also different style of play. If they are smart, they want to grab all of that and package it and bring it back to South Africa, so that they have an advantage, I guess, when it comes to the season starting. So that's really where it is, really. But when you think about it, certain teams like Mamelodi Sundowns is in Limpopo. They decided to not spend all this money. They decided to just stay home and just focus on their craft. So the real decider really is going to be once the season starts, or maybe the second quarter is going to be decided as to was it really beneficial for the teams, traveling all this way to have their preseason training.
Did Sundowns cancel their Netherlands trip? Because I know they meant to go to Netherlands.
Is it?
for
But Limpopo,
pre-season.
no.
No, they're currently in Rustenburg, right?
Rustenburg, not Limpopo, yeah.
Because I think they still are going to go to the Netherlands for their pre-season. Chiefs is next door in Botswana. I don't know if that counts as international.
It is
It is
international.
it's continental, but,
but also, preseason is very important for these clubs. If you look at like new players coming in, they get to gel with other players as well. A lot of times you go to preseason, there's a whole lot of changes. If clubs have released like 6 players, 7 players, it's almost like a whole new team. So for the fluidity of the club, you need to have that preseason. And obviously, how many players come back from preseason with a kilogram more? So there's also that.
The break was not that long, though.
Bro,
even so, if
it
you're
doesn't
not
take long
training
to
as
put
much
out
as
a
you
pound,
used to.
actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just need 2 weekends out there in Cape Town like Marco.
No, I think preseason is critically important. And the reason why I bring up, is it a cash grab and is it actual real preparation for the season? I think it's so important for the manager to be with his players, especially youth players that you want to bring up, who you want to let them prove a point. Because a lot of squads haven't strengthened in numbers in a huge way. We look at Chelsea, who brought in many, many numbers last season.
Yeah.
This season, they're letting more players go than they're bringing in.
Yep.
So that's okay. But you look at a club like Manchester United, who you see not bringing in that many numbers, sort of replacing like for like in a way in Andre Onana coming in for David De Gea. So the manager needs to see what else he can bring in terms of fringe players coming into the main squad with the number of games they're expected to play in this season. And I'm going to be a hypocrite here, and I'm going to say that it's a cash grab for the big major European clubs to go over to the US. But I really like that Orlando Pirates have gone to Spain. That doesn't feel like a cash grab to me.
It's dope.
I think that is actually a good move because I think, first of all, PSL needs the attention internationally.
No, definitely.
Second of all, I think it's a good way, like you brought up, to play against teams from places like Venezuela to introduce different styles because the PSL is dominated by a certain style, and we bring in managers here and there that will come and bring their style from other regions, but we don't get exposed to different styles in the way the major European clubs do.
True.
Yeah, and also that's going to boost our national team. Once you learn other playing styles, it boosts your national team.
I
Yeah.
agree.
The
And
national team that's losing against Lesotho in a COSAFA Cup game.
Hey, it's COSAFA, man.
Funny you should say
Well,
that.
it's still important. Because
It
or
is.
not, it's
It
still
is.
important.
No, I agree with
they
you.
should have been winning these matches.
Because you look at the COSAFA Cup, right? The
Yeah.
teams that we be like Bomalawi, Lesotho, Botswana.
Zambia.
Those are the teams that we're going to be playing against in that World Cup qualifier. Our group, I think it's Nigeria. I know Lesotho is in there. Zimbabwe is also in the mix.
Yeah, we always get Zimbabwe in these qualifiers, eh?
And then we get them everywhere.
Oh, wow.
What? No, I mean in like soccer, in cricket,
Wow.
in netball. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Bury yourself, my friend. You are used to this.
It's a shovel.
Okay, speaking of international football.
Yeah.
Banyana. Preparation starting. World Cup is approaching. And of course, big win in their final preparation game against Costa Rica, 2-0.
They needed that win, considering the circumstances that they have been facing here in Mzansi before their departure. It's never really easy for the girls, honestly. When, their preparations are always just, overshadowed by some type of drama from somebody or the other.
No, from Zafa. You say
Somebody
it.
or the other, Safa in the
Yes. Say it.
So they really do go through a lot, and these girls are valiant. I mean, they're winners. I promise you. And had they been given the opportunities or the resources that they do deserve, they would have been even better. So congratulations to them. That Costa Rica 2-0 win was needed. And also, Khatlana, congratulations to her. I mean, she has not played for a year.
Coming back from injury,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
And only for her to do what she did,
Yeah.
shout out to her for that.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see. Actually, for me, the most important thing is after that debacle with Safa, a lot of teams, when they fight the FAs, when they go to the World Cup, they actually flop. We've seen it happening. So for them to go out there and say, we can still do this after what happened, it was actually good. I think it's going to be a good moral booster prior to the World Cup start.
Did you hear about the war zone match that happened last week?
No?
One of the warm-up games. I think it was Ireland versus Colombia. The game was abandoned after 20 minutes because tackles were flying, bro.
Sure.
That is crazy.
Tackles were flying. It's like some ridiculous amount of yellow cards were dished out in the first 20 minutes. The
Jeez.
game had to be abandoned.
What do you think of the gap in women's football and men's football in terms of the quality of play? It was much bigger than it is now.
True.
Yes.
I think there's still a gap.
No, definitely.
There's
I mean, the
still a gap.
physicality will always play a part,
The gap in finances is huge. The gap in team size, physios,
Yeah.
sports
Just the
nutritionists,
resources.
all the resources that are put into the women's game
Yeah.
versus the men's game is huge.
And the leagues in June.
At the league size, the number of participants in the league is much smaller, and the quality gap is closing. And the girls must be proud of themselves for how well they're doing. And you can say this now even more so because we're praising Banyana, who've done great. Who've done really great, winning the African Cup of Nations and now going to the World Cup. Expectations are high on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The teams that they're going to face at that tournament, you look at United States have always been a standout team in
Obviously.
women's soccer.
Sweden as well. Extra
Sweden.
Japan also won
How
the
good
World
is
Cup
the
at some point.
how good is
yeah.
the England side?
England. See, the thing
Spain.
the thing with England, right? The Premier League, the Women's Premier League, is actually taken very seriously.
They're going to correct you. Women's Super League.
Oh, Super League. Yes. So,
No conference
Here's
this
a
week.
shovel.
sorry, hard. Right? You've got, I'm going to make an example with Arsenal. You've got a team like Arsenal where both, I don't know what the pay difference is between the women's team and the men's team. But in terms of facilities where they train, what is being given to them, both the men and the women and the under 18s and the under 15s, it's almost like on a similar level.
Yeah.
Well done, Arsenal.
Even
Yeah.
sponsorship, actually. I saw
Even
with
sponsorship, yes.
Manchester City, when they renewed their sponsorship with that, I think it's a forest trading company, it filters down to the women's football club as well.
Yeah, but then we go back to the same conversation about SAFA and just how they manage, South African football overall. Because, I mean, before we talk about Banyana, we still need to look at just like grassroots levels when it comes to men's football, development football in South Africa. And that on its own is struggling.
Yeah, no.
So if that is not even fixed yet, imagine how long it's going to take for Banyana to even be recognized and be seen as what, a team that is a force to be reckoned with. So in essence, what we need to be looking at is just the administrative aspect of it all, because there shouldn't be such a big gap when you think about it between women's football as well as men's football. Yes, when you think about it, naturally, men's football commercially, I mean, it is more viable, but I mean, when it comes to how well the girls are doing and at the rapid pace that they are improving, we should not be having this conversation right now.
But the other thing as well, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Sure.
Get my shovel ready there, Chief.
You're already under, Chief.
He's 2 feet now.
It's 2 feet. Okay, let's go.
My thing is, right, from a marketer's perspective, and I think we've had this conversation before on the show. From a marketer's perspective, if the numbers are not forthcoming, why am I investing money in a certain sport?
Granted.
No, the supporter base needs to improve. And one of the ways is to have more girls playing sports like football at youth level. And then that way they fall in love with the sport and they watch it commercially.
True.
And I think it will grow over the years, and maybe we should just be impressed with the progress and be happy with it
And
rather
more
than
girls-
keep complaining. But more girls wanting to play ball and wanting to support ball, and then more men wanting to support women's football as well.
Yeah,
But
because I was
I mean-
about to say that there's a whole lot of women that are supporting like men's football. You know, if they can do the same for
I was
women's
gonna say the
football,
same thing, yes.
it's going to make a huge difference.
But I mean, we'd also have to be having conversations with the actual brands. I mean, when you look at, for example, right now, we do have the Netball World Cup happening just now at the end of July.
Yeah.
And we have the big boys sponsoring the girls. We have Discovery, we have Telkom, we have Spa.
They pulled out.
You know what I mean? But, they pulled
Vitality,
out. So they have a
yes.
strong pull-out game. But what I'm basically saying is that...
I was not expecting that.
So all I'm saying is that we also need to have corporates and others, companies and brands to really want to, be excited and really want to invest in the girls, because, I mean, from a marketing perspective and from a branding perspective, once you have the big boys really backing the girls, then most people start to take heed also, you see.
No, definitely. And
No,
I think
fair point.
we touched on it a lot here that, what, I think brands need to come to the fore when it comes to women's football, because I think...
Especially for Banyana, who've done so well. And
Exactly.
the real marker for success in world football today is if the Saudi Arabians start coming for your people.
Yeah.
That's the real marker.
Did you check, sorry, Marco, did you check Simone Colney?
Yes.
Yes.
Big up.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
Yes.
saying that Banyana is officially a big team in world football because their staff are going over to Saudi
She's
Arabia.
going to Saudi. There we go.
That's proper, eh?
No, that's good. It just goes to show you, and she's been putting in work. I mean, she's been with Highlands Park, back in the days, She's
Banyana at Sundowns Ladies, I think this past season.
she's away with Banyana right now, you
Yeah.
know. So I mean, it just goes to show you that our ladies are doing something out there if they're getting recognition from your Saudis,
Yeah,
But they better
definitely.
pay her. They mustn't do her like they did.
Oh, no,
Pito.
I don't think they have those issues over there.
They do.
They did.
didn't pay
Pito
Pito
was not paid for 4 months, eh?
Oh, yes.
So yeah.
for all the oil money in the world, and you can't pay the best coach on the continent.
Yeah, man.
Best coach, okay.
I probably got it now.
He's the best coach from the African continent.
Hey, okay.
Okay.
Let's go to the
Yeah.
transfer rumors. Some transfer rumors. We'll come back to
Yes,
local
let's do
ball
that.
just now. But for now, while we're talking about Saudi League,
Yeah.
I brought this up a couple of weeks ago. Riyad Mahrez.
It's looking possible.
Yes.
I think it's done. Al
I
Akli,
heard he's doing medicals right now.
well, he's not in medical stages because the clubs haven't agreed a fee.
Yeah.
But he
Okay.
has,
Still
he has
just a
agreed
rumor.
personal terms. But you can fact check me on
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
But Al Akli have agreed personal terms with Riyad Mahrez, according to my man Fabrizio Romano. And the agents of Riyad Mahrez are speaking to Manchester City now currently to ask for permission for Riyad to go and to start negotiations. But Mahrez still has 2 years on his contract at City. He's an important player in world football. Manchester City would need to replace him, I suppose. They would have to go into the market to replace him. So they're going to command a very, very big, substantial fee. But the Saudis aren't scared of that.
Yeah, I mean, Saudi money, they're not worried. And I saw something about while we were on City. Kyle Walker is rumored to be going to Bayern.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, there's few City players that are rumored to be on their exit. But I understand why. You've been with the team for 6 years. You've achieved everything that you can on a club level, right? And remember, these boys have they've got ambitions to play for other team, childhood dream, like Bernardo, always wanted to play for Barcelona. So now he has achieved everything that he could with City. Why not?
What else? Yeah.
We discussed this about Ilkay Gundogan, who's now officially confirmed to have been joined Barcelona. But the thing is, how many players can City let go? If there's a club that can let a few players go, it's City. But is this not too disruptive? Mahrez, Gundogan, Walker. So Walker might be forced to stay. But we'll see this week because obviously they just come back to training. They're only going to just start speaking to the coaches. Manchester United players go back to training. They speak to the coach. They get told they're not captain anymore.
Can I answer you there?
And be shipped off to West Ham on loan. We won't say names.
For me, I think, it's worrying, for City to lose so many key players.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the structure of City, it allows it. That train is moving. Everybody that jumps on that train, they will function.
But Pep has to stop it at a point.
Obviously, at some point, he's going to have to stop, And I think with Kyle Walker, that's where I think I'll draw the line, Because how many fullbacks are you going to get that are there in the market?
Sorry for interrupting you there. So, by the way, I just got this a couple of hours ago, and it says here that Mahrez has agreed personal terms with Saudi Arabian side Al Ahly ahead of potential transfer, and it says that they have already spoken up. No. Let me read the headline.
Okay.
It says Mahrez to undergo medicals ahead of Saudi Arabia move and more Man City transfer rumors. So it said here that they have already agreed on personal terms and now he is ready to go for his medicals. This is according to Manchester Evening News. So I'm not sure, allegedly.
But I don't think you can go for medical before the fee has been agreed
between the clubs.
Yeah, between the clubs.
So I'm sure him and his team are prepared to fly over for the medical soon. It's about how quickly the clubs can negotiate a fee. But the Saudis seem to get their deals done quickly.
But
he's getting a lot of money. I think it's like £485,000
per week.
Per week, yeah.
That's a lot.
The deals now seem to be taking longer than back in the days. Like, how long did it take for Testic to come to Arsenal?
I think that one was them trying to figure out how they're going to pay that money. That was a big transfer fee. But even the Onana deal was a long time of negotiations and will only get finished up this week.
Because like Man United kept going to Inter saying, too little,
And those payment terms, what also strikes me now as odd with football is we're going to give you 50 million now. Then we're going to give you this. What? I remember back in the day, like you said, this is the price for the player. 60 million. You give me the 60 million, he can go out. Done. Now it's lay-by and...
Remember when Wenger wanted to buy Suarez from Liverpool? The price was 40, I think. So you had to go over 40 to activate the release clause or something like that. And he was like, okay, cool. My new proposal is 40 million and one.
Technically, he's right.
He actually has. He's got a deal there.
Okay, and then another two big names, Liverpool players off to Saudi League potentially. Fabinho, looks like done.
Yeah.
That one's done deal. But Jordan Henderson.
I think he had overstayed his welcome at Liverpool. A lot of Liverpool fans were in actual agreement that, you know what, Hendo, you've done enough.
Yeah. Look, I think the most important thing that they're going to miss is his leadership. Because he's a very good commander, you know. In a field of play, they can easily replace him. They already have like Mark Allister, you know. So I think he's overstayed his welcome. I think it's time for him to go cash out.
Yeah, I think he's just not the quality player he was before. Certainly some leadership qualities that they'll miss in the dressing room. But if you can command a fee for a player now, financial fair play is hurting everybody at the moment. So before you think to yourself, it's nice to have a player with this experience in the dressing room, help young players. What? I'm going to lose him for nothing in a year or two.
Yeah. So
let me command a fee.
Precisely.
Let me replace him
because
it's expensive to replace the player. I think it's a good move on Liverpool's part to get rid of those two.
Definitely.
And
I
but
think it's
also
good
from a
business.
but also from a player's perspective, I mean, you can also kind of count the amount of years you have remaining. And you also need to look at yourself and also how long are you going to be able to stay at Liverpool and still be played as often as you were. So you look at the money aspect of it and you're like, okay, but I'm almost done here. So I might as well just go there and just cash out just so that I'm able to live a comfortable life. And that's the reality, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not about game time. It's
Yeah.
about money.
Money, bro.
Funny that Tepi says that. I was
Yeah.
reading a comment from Ruben Neves about being asked why did he decide to go to Saudi, and he said like, "Yo, I want my family to live a life that I was not afforded when
That's
I was
it.
young. So I'm there for the money. Judge me all you want."
Sounds like Oscar, Chinese Super League. Said the
Yeah,
same thing.
Exactly.
It's like Brazilians. They are in for the money. They have no loyalty to any club. They're just in it for the money. And
Because
it's fair,
sometimes
you
the
know.
club might not be loyal to you
Yeah,
at
true.
the end of the day. So
But we have seen players turning down Saudi League for football reasons, like Bruno Fernandes this week. Turning down a move to Saudi League, wants to win trophies at Manchester United.
Good luck to that.
Maybe that's why Maguire was told, hey, you're not captain anymore so quickly, because maybe Bruno Fernandes is going to be announced.
Do you
as
think
captain.
that whole decision to strip Maguire of his captaincy is sort of like going to trickle down and maybe cause a little bit of toxicity in the dressing room? Because
Manchester United toxicities at max already. They don't need any. There's nowhere else to go. It's already full. No one has respect for the higher ups in that club.
And that's quite unfortunate. And I think Maguire left at the right time because it was just going to get even more and more toxic for him. I mean, we already knew a week before there were rumors that he might lose his captaincy. So it was a smart decision for him to just be the bigger person.
He was
Number
lucky
one,
to
go
be
on social
captain.
media and congratulate everyone. And
yes.
just be able to
he was lucky to be a United player. But to be fair though,
But is he gonna go though?
He's gonna go
to Saudi or
He's-
West Ham?
he's
No,
disgruntled.
Depends on his wages, because his wages at Manchester United, no one's going to pay those now.
Yeah.
So it depends if he's going to accept a deal to go,
'Cause
which I
I-
think he will. He wants to play ball.
disgruntled.
How
He's not
much
gonna
was he
play at
offered to
Manchester
leave?
United.
There was some money that he was offered so that he can just like, hey, let's shake hands.
No,
No,
check it for
Manchester
City.
United are going to want a substantial figure for him, which they will get.
Because they paid
But
blank
they-
money for him.
Big, it was what, 70 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the
Something
top
like
10
that.
highest transfer.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, so I mean, what, 20 million, 30 million, you'll see him go? I think clubs will pay it. I think West Ham have some money burning a hole in their pocket from Declan Rice. Yeah, they're like, let's get an England captain.
They're trying to sign, who's this kid? Is he from Fulham? What's his name? And they had a bid rejected. West Ham, that is. There's quite a couple of players that they are in the market, including Maguire.
Sometimes that happens. You lose a top player for big money to another club, and you can rebuild 4 or 5 positions in your team.
True.
And it helps improve the squad.
I suppose.
But the market's tough at the moment.
It is.
Yeah.
Tough to get players.
I think there's not much quality out there, you know, in terms of like
And what
players
you-
that are like,
and what you pay for players that aren't much quality.
yeah.
The prices are high.
There's this kid. He plays for PSV. Xavi Simons.
One with the cornrows.
So he's joining Paris Saint-Germain, going back to PSG,
Going to PSG.
because he was a PSG player.
Yes.
Then he was signed in the Dutch league with a clause that PSG can buy him back for a certain price
Yeah.
if they choose. He's agreed that, and now it looks like PSG signing him as a player and sending him right back out on loan.
Yeah, but that's dependent on who's going to stay between Mbappe and... Because if Mbappe goes,
Neymar.
the kid will stay. If one of the two goes, the kid stays.
Who's got Mbappe money right now?
Exactly.
Real Madrid have just been told that future TV rights deals will not constitute income.
Yeah.
So it will not constitute towards financial fair play.
Sure.
And Real Madrid's the only destination for him. So
Actually.
City can't, at this current juncture, City can't afford
Nope.
because their financial fair play is like hovering above them.
also he only wants to go one club. We know this.
So they're gonna have to reduce the asking price because they stand to lose him for free because he's left with a year in his contract.
In the Premier League, he said he will only play for Arsenal. So let's not talk about other
Who,
teams.
Mbappe?
Yes.
Sure.
Arsenal can't afford him.
Like,
We just bought Rice
Yeah, that's why you can't afford him.
and we don't have financial fair play problems.
Okay, the rest of Europe, seeing as we've moved on to PSG.
yeah.
Yeah.
They are looking at Harry Kane. They are looking at Romelu Lukaku. They are looking at quite a few strikers currently. And the one that I like for them that they're looking at, which will start one of those, every season there's a transfer that starts a cycle of transfer, right? And I think Dusan Vlahovic from Juventus to PSG. Good move for Vlahovic. Champions League, French champions, big side. He's a good player. Yeah. Good move for him, which would then spark Juventus to move for Romelu Lukaku. Inter's already out of that negotiation. And Chelsea want to get rid of Lukaku, which might mean more income for Chelsea after shipping off a few players to Saudi League, which would mean they can now pursue other targets like a Harry Maguire. So I think that if Vlahovic moves to PSG, it starts this trigger of signings, and again, it makes Neymar or Mbappe available for another club if Vlahovic joins PSG.
So with regards to Juve, they were kicked out of the Champions League, right?
Yeah, they're going to play the lower one, the lower tier.
They were ducked points.
Yes.
For
they ended up at conference,
and they qualified for conference, which I think they rejected. They gave up their position in UEFA Conference League, from what I understand. They said they'd prefer not to participate in the tournament.
So if you are Vlahovic, for instance, you want to play in Europe. You are playing in Europe.
Yeah.
You want to play Champions League. Right?
Yeah.
And with Juventus being where they are, this is not the era of the Gianluigi Buffon of back in the days when Juventus went down to... He was like, okay, I'll go down with them and then I'll bring them up. Players are not like that these days.
Yeah, no loyalty. Speaking of which, I mean, we talked about Harry Kane, and that's another interesting one that's happening. That potential move to Bayern.
Yeah, and Bayern Munich's director in
Uli.
Yeah. He's assistant or what's his position? Temporary director.
Yeah.
He says that Harry Kane's team, which is his father and his brother, which is also another thing I never got. Why are you hiring your father and your brother as your agent?
They normally do that. Actually.
Look at Neymar.
They all do that.
He's built an empire with his father.
Have you seen what those agents make? That's why. That's the money.
Isn't Messi's father his agent as well?
I think so.
Yeah.
I know one of who's a guy who was at Inter / and then he went to PSG, who's managed by his wife.
Icardi.
And
he's now at Galatasaray. Permanent signing.
Yeah.
So he had a season on loan at Galatasaray. Now he's signed permanent deal at Galatasaray as well.
Hopefully he has better luck in Turkey than others who went to Turkey and things did not.
Aye, let's go on to that.
That hurts. It's still fresh, that one.
Things did not go according to plan.
And you know what made me feel the worst about that thing? Because obviously we're talking about Dele Alli. Ballers. Dele Alli, if you haven't seen the interview, it's actually worth a watch. Yeah. He spoke to the world's best right back of all time.
Please.
Gary Neville.
Marco.
The world's most overrated right back of all time, who was lucky to play in the side that he did somehow. But anyway, Gary Neville is actually a good journalist and a good pundit. He's better at that than he was a manager for Valencia, for sure. But Dele's story, heart-wrenching. And the thing that made me feel most guilty about that story is how I go on about footballers here on this podcast. And I'm like, you get paid enough to, whatever, you must perform, what.
Yeah.
And we forget that they're people.
Super Sub, what did I say to you during the week?
Man, don't go there.
Which one? Come on, man.
Huh? No. He was clowning a player.
No, I called some players cows. It's a township lingo.
But we're allowed to still call them cows.
Yeah, it's banter.
Right? I mean, it is still sport. And people are...
it's football banter.
We view them as superheroes.
Now we're going to take away football banter because of the Dele Alli interview.
No, but like in my head, right, this is my understanding of it.
Yeah.
Right? It's such phrases, such things that we say also add fire or also add fuel to this fire of how these people feel. I don't think, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think a player literally goes onto the field of play to be like, today I'm going to play like shite.
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes you have to also remember that there's a psychological and emotional aspect to it, and that sometimes has nothing to do with the actual football.
Yep.
I mean, in this case, I mean, he had issues, childhood issues that he had been burying for a very long time, and they eventually had to come out. So we can't really say that it's because of, what's happening happening outside at that moment. It's just things that just have been affecting him for a while, and he had to seek help for that. I mean, being molested at the age of 6 is tough. I can imagine being molested at any age really is tough. So in order for him to be able to really come out, that on its own is a challenge, and going into rehab. So he has been struggling. And I mean, you saw his performance. He started off very, very nicely. I mean, he was one of the best players, really. And then we saw a decline to a point where when he got to Turkey, there was nothing left.
So that decline.
So emotionally and psychologically, he was not there anymore.
Here's my theory about that decline. Amazon Prime. Remember that episode?
Yeah.
With Jose.
Mourinho.
When you talk,
So I think because he was that rejection thing, Mourinho's handling of him, like benching him and not playing him and sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for?
repetitive.
No, it reignited, for lack of a better word. It reignited the trauma of being rejected by his family from a young age.
And also,
okay.
do you blame the coach though? Because by then, the coach did not know that this boy had gone through all of those. Because I mean, he had catalog of difficulties. You know, I don't think the coach by then had known. You know what I'm saying? It was for him.
Yeah.
Dele, you're not performing. What do I do if a player is not performing? You know.
To be fair, I think Jose Mourinho must be the worst manager to work under if you've got mental issues. Like
He's
if you've
tough.
got problems, Jose, you don't want him to be your boss.
I suppose, yeah.
He's the one that makes you tough when you need to be tough, but you need to be ready to be made tough.
So would Dele have been, mustn't even call him Dele Alli because he removed the Ali part.
Yeah, he's just Dele.
It's Dele.
Yeah.
Would it have been better for him if, say, he played under Arsene Wenger, for instance? Who
No.
looks very sympathetic. He looks very sympathetic.
I understand what you're saying. Like he said, under Mauricio Pochettino, he had an arm over the shoulder, whatever. I think the inverse. I think that if he continued his career like that, he wouldn't have had the chance to actually become the best. Now, he needed this downfall. He needed to fall so that he could go into recovery, deal with the traumas and whatever, and come back and show us the Dele that he can actually be. Because he played well. He was a star, young player who had great ability, maybe blew hot and cold, even in his prime. He blew a bit hot and cold here and there. He'd wow you one week doing a overhead flick, volley, top corner, what a goal. And then next
against
week,
Crystal Palace.
he'd disappear,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I think that I hope for the guy and I hope for Everton as well, because Sean Dykes, I'll support him any club he goes to.
And he also looks like he's a hard man, eh?
Sean Dykes is hard, but it looks like from the sound of things, Dele spoke to him and they said, you know what, go
Just-
sort yourself out, whatever. He seems like he's hard, but fair. And I think he knows where, I like Sean Dykes. I think he's probably a good human as well. I have no reference.
What
to
do
say
you
this.
What do you say then to? I mean, I went through a couple of tweets, and obviously a lot of people are, sympathetic, and some people, have been in that position in the past. Mental health issues, which is very important, by the way, to just deal with. But some people are saying, oh no, they were expecting him to come out and say that he's had mental health issues because he has not been doing well. So that is somehow an excuse.
Look, I think that, of course, there's an element of it because the press was going to come out with his story of going to rehab and he wanted to tell the story before they told the story.
Control the narrative.
I think there is an element of it. I think there's an element of him seeking sympathy and just trying to let the world understand, listen, don't keep telling me how shit I am at football. I'm going through some stuff. I'll be back. I'm trying. And I think everyone would want to have a little bit of that. Everyone would want that opportunity. So I wish the best for the boy. I think it's going to open the gates for a lot of footballers many footballers come from difficult circumstances. You look at Anthony, who comes from very difficult circumstances. I think he should go on to Gary Neville's show. Maybe it'll improve his performances at some point.
The shade of it.
Yeah, for me, with that interview, I think what stands out the most is the fact that the boy is taking accountability.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a sign of somebody that has turned the corner. And I think going to this season, if Sean Dyche give him a chance, he might just excel because I think he has dealt with his demons, you know, and I think he's ready to fire, you know. And that's somebody that you give an opportunity. He deserved that opportunity.
Do you know the thing with trauma is you can think you've dealt with your demons, but when that wrecking ball just comes out of nowhere, it literally hits you, and you go back to like you start from the beginning.
But
again.
you have tools at that point, because you know when you go into rehab, you are given tools to be able to now combat
Coping
these
mechanisms,
differently. There we go.
Well, I wish the best for him, and I hope it does allow other players who are struggling through things, professional players who might not have thought it possible for them to be vulnerable like that, to come forward and share their stories, or at least seek help away from you. You don't have to do it in the press. You don't have to do it in the public, but go to your rehabs, go see a therapist, whatever, seek help for your problems. I hope it opens the doors for players who might be struggling.
Yeah.
I think Pogba should be next.
Paul Pogba.
Paul Pogba.
Because remember, there was a time, was it last year, when like stories were making the rounds that he's bewitched, or there's
Bewitched.
There was a whole lot of stories that were making rounds that somebody was trying to swindle him money, and people went to witch doctors for him, and it was like his injury will not get healed unless if he pays a certain amount of money. Like he was also like all over the place, and such a talent.
I watched a replay, highlights of his performance against Ajax in the Europa League final. He looked a world beater. It looked like the pitch was too small for him. He looked so good, and he's looked that way for France a couple times as well. And that's a Paul Pogba we haven't seen consistently. And what a talent that is, gone to waste.
Is he making any progress going to Saudi, or he's not going to Saudi?
It seems like he's not going currently. But how can you go? He won't pass a medical.
True.
Yeah, no, because he's injured.
Yeah, he's well injured. He's been injured.
That story of the witch doctor could be true then. Because
the injury is not healing.
You got money, Paul Pogba. Pay.
That story could be true.
Hey, you never know, bro.
That story could be true.
I call BS
okay.
on that one.
The South African players, they will tell you about the muti that goes into football. So you cannot rule that out.
Speaking
I mean,
of
it's plausible, but I don't know.
Yeah.
speaking of players with troubles, with problems, Benjamin Mendy, he's shook some problems now.
Right?
Has he
Hey,
though?
found not guilty. He hasn't got a club. He was let go 2 years ago by City already.
Did City let him go? Or?
Yeah, they did.
Cancelled.
They stopped paying him.
Stop paying in 2021. I think.
So they owe him.
Yeah, they actually, now that he's been acquitted, they actually owe him. So for me, it's like, you know, where do you start from here, you know?
Go to Saudi, man.
Plus he's of Muslim faith. So chances are he might be going there. But for me, it's like, you know, the brand has been shattered.
True.
You know, and I think it was Vinicius Jr. came out in his support, you know, to say, you know.
Yeah, people are being torn down. This and that.
Look, I don't know. Like, I don't want to talk about stuff that I don't really know much about. But I think from footballing perspective, Saudi will seem to be like I think it's a good destination for him.
Come to the PSA.
Chief, that guy.
Can't afford this man.
That guy.
He's gonna get 2 years worth of salary for not having kicked the ball. I mean,
And then how much of that salary, and also how much of that salary goes to his legal fees? Unless if he's acquitted, then the accuser or the state.
No. He pays his.
We don't know. I don't know about the legal
lawyer.
aspect.
He had to sell jewelry. He had to do a lot of things. in
So
order to be able to
it's
pay for his legal
probably
fee.
bankrupt.
Probably.
He's starting from scratch.
It's fine. It's cheap to live here, bruh.
Yes.
It's cheap.
Hey, don't say
You know
that.
what you can, but for a footballer from Europe, he can sell more jewelry, can get a place in Bedford View or something.
Yeah,
But I mean, he's still young, and I think his prospects are still so much bigger as opposed to coming to Southern. Not that I'm
Hey,
saying
don't
anything is
ruin
wrong
it.
with South Africa.
Don't ruin it. We want to see him here.
But who's gonna touch him? I don't think I don't
Saudi
think top
league.
clubs are gonna touch him.
no.
No.
And I think that's the unfortunate
Because
part
cancel
about having a
culture,
scandal like
these
that.
clubs are also much afraid of cancel culture.
Well, I mean, if we're saying this about Benjamin Mendy, we had this discussion about Mason Greenwood and we were debating whether he should play for Manchester United or not. He doesn't need a court to acquit him. There's lots of visual evidence everywhere to know he got up to no good. Mason Greenwood, Saudi League?
Not gonna happen.
He's not going anywhere. He's done. Finished.
Mendy can go to the USA.
Well, look, the USA
like
is
a
very
big-
like there's a lot of
Did you see Messi's reveal?
Hey, but he's Messi.
look.
Music is
Did you
not-
see his
MLS
son
is-
nutmegged him at his reveal?
Yeah.
Yeah,
MLS.
but I mean,
That
more than
household
anything,
is-
I think Mendy. I think he's learned his lesson because, I mean, and I'm not trying to be a bad guy here, but how he was living his life, his lifestyle, and what led to these
all these
allegations.
allegations,
I mean,
yeah.
he was living the fast life, and he's been told so many times to stop doing these things. I mean, at some point he was under house arrest, but he would not listen.
He couldn't toe the
So
line.
he was an easy target also for these type of things. So I'm hoping that at this point he's learned his lesson because
Yeah,
he's lost so much.
I agree with you. He has put himself out there,
Yeah.
you know?
Do you
Yeah.
think Pep had to sit down with Grealish because Grealish was also, when he got to City, he had those tendencies of a rock star life. I mean,
bad boy.
you even saw when they won the Champions League.
Yeah. Look,
So
I don't
maybe-
know.
maybe
I don't
Pep
know how
sat him
far he
down.
takes it. You know what I mean? I don't know how far he takes it, but it looks like Mendy really, really took it far. You know, I mean,
Maybe
some
Pep
of the
sat him
stories
down
that
and
came
said-
out within that trial was like, geez, man, how do you even
Bro,
get there? You know?
yeah.
You know,
Maybe
so-
that's why he won the treble. Pep said to him, listen, you only get to party if we win the treble. And he's like, done.
I'll go for it.
I'll
And which
go
begs the
for it.
question that I wanted to pose at you guys. Do you think, do you guys think like these players that like commit early at a young age, like you look at your Phil Foden, your Sterling, do you think they're more safer in terms of excelling within their career other than like your rock stars, like your Mendy and all of that? Just an example.
Balotelli was a rock star.
Well, where did it end up?
But like so for me, it's I remember having this chat with a friend of mine. Well, and I'm gonna put it in a South African context, right? A footballer's career and its longevity pretty much depends on what you do with your life from about 12 o'clock until 6 in the evening.
Okay.
Decisions that you make in that time frame will determine how far you go.
Yeah.
Ronaldo, R9.
He was a rock star.
He was a rock star, and
Because
he
if you look
would
at
go
all-
drinking,
Ronaldinho,
get home
rock
4 in
star.
the morning, and come wake up, play ball. He was an anomaly, though.
But Tepi, what do you
He's a
think?
star. The thing, okay, so I think sometimes what happens is that, some certain players, I mean, they start playing at 22, for example, and they're making all this money. And I don't think they may be matured from a football perspective, but from a maturity level, they still lack
The kids, basically.
responsibilities. So you're basically giving a child 10,000 rands and you say, go to the Lego store and do whatever if you want.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, it's difficult also because of all the pressures and because they are exposed also, they're not as protected. I mean, your team can only protect you so much. If you don't have a support structure, your family and, everyone else who really has your back to really, really protect you, then you are in trouble. And it doesn't really matter who you are, to be honest with you.
I agree, because I knew
It's
me
bad.
when I was a 16-year-old. And if you told me I'm the greatest, I'm going to be the best, and you gave me lots of money
That's
at
it.
16, I would have been the worst.
Yeah.
So we should stop paying young footballers a lot of money.
No,
No,
we should
no.
pay them more.
Have good support.
Pay them
Have good support. That's what I'm saying.
But-
Like, I like, this is just me personally, and it has nothing to do with anything, right? I just like how players that like got married at a young age, like how their careers excel, like look at Messi, look at Ronaldo. Well, they started a little bit off shaky, but look at how stable they are. Those players tend to last longer and they are less prone to all these other things,
Yeah.
I like this.
Definitely.
Alejandro Garnacho's girlfriend's pregnant, so he's going to settle down nice and young, have a long
And he's a
career.
good player.
He's
So
a-
are you
Yes.
saying then, again, I'm going to bring it home, in a football versus rugby type of setup where you find a lot of the rugby guys settle very early
Yep.
and you see the trajectory of their careers
Yeah.
versus a lot of the soccer guys who go to Rockets every weekend and different women every weekend.
Bro.
kind of
Yeah,
vibes.
the rugby boys will have a liquor bra at the house.
No, I think, and I'm not an expert in this. It's just my opinion. I think it works better because I think you are more focused. as
You need to account to someone. You need to have a person that you're going to explain yourself
That's true.
to. You know, I mean, guys, if I have $1 million right now and I'm not married, I don't have no boyfriend, I'm in the streets.
Yeah.
Right? Naturally.
and you're gonna get distracted along the way. I think.
Hey, seeing as
Test
we
me.
brought it home.
Yeah, just give me $1 million, let me be single, and I want to see what's going to
Let's
happen.
see.
It's too late.
It's the
Let's do
experiment.
I want to see what's going to happen.
But anyway, yeah.
Seeing as we brought it back local, you're wearing a Swallow shirt.
Oh, yes. They are now Morocco Swallows. They got their name back.
Yeah,
So
man.
the birds are flying again.
And they also have Andile Jali.
They've got Andile
And
Jali,
the new coach.
AJ
And the new
15,
coach.
Coach
Look,
Steve.
I'm excited for that.
too.
I'm excited for Swallows. You know, I think Steve Compella, like I said, I did not understand why you will stay at the Mamelodi Sundown being second best to Rulani when you've got these brilliant brains. You know, I think he's just gonna excel there. You know, and it looks like he's got the support from the powers there at Swallows. You know,
David.
Yeah, Brad David looks like he's backing him up. You know, and I think they're creating a good structure there. You know, Nyatama. You know, they didn't push him aside. You know, he's still a young coach. We're bringing a senior coach. You can learn from Steve Compella. I think that combination will do wonders for Swallows. I think Swallows I'll say Swallows will be in the top 8. Easy.
Yeah, and also, I mean, big ups to them because it's been tough for them. At some point, remember, they were relegated. They have not been in the top flight for what? Is it 3 seasons now that you just got back?
Yeah.
So they struggled through that.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, they had financial ruins and, you know, everyone really, really, you know, came together to make sure that Swallows does not die down. I mean, had that same thing happened to the likes of Bloemfontein Celtic, we'd be talking a different story. And I'm really happy that, you know, as much as, I mean, from Coach Brandon Truter, who did help them to be promoted into the top flight, they were able to sustain and at least have a manager like Mr. Compella, who is excellent in what he does. And also, I feel like Mr. Compella at some point was just tired of the threesome. It's a threesome, right?
Yeah, you can call it
trying to be
anything.
weird, right? You know, so...
Tepi, 1 foot under.
Yeah, today.
you know, at some point, you
Shuffle
just
is
want
working
to...
today.
I'm feeling safe, yeah.
Yeah, no,
I'm
you
feeling
saved
safe.
today.
Can I have my chair back?
So yeah, man, shout outs to him and also Gujali, man. I mean, I heard a clip of him talking about how happy he is to be at Swallows, considering also that he's going to be under once again Zokompela because they are like this.
Yeah, no.
So it's going to be
it's
an
like a father
interesting
figure to
season.
him, you know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
So where do you see them finishing come end of the season?
I said top 8 already.
Are they already in the top 8 now?
Yeah, no, they will stay there in the top 8, man.
Comfortably.
Are you
think-
saying better? Are you saying better?
I think first season is always tricky for a manager, you know. I think Steve Compella needs to learn other players there, you know, in as much as he's got your Andile Jali there, but he's still to learn other players there. You know, I think first season is just gonna, if he finished top 8, that's good enough. But I think second season, yeah, that's when we can talk about maybe top 4 and most likely maybe CAF Confederation spot,
Yeah.
you know.
So the thing is, me looking at the fixtures were out. Somebody leaked
A list of the fixtures? is
Yes.
it? Okay.
I forgot where I
Don't we start with MTN8?
No.
They've changed that.
Don't
Yeah.
we have what is a preseason competition? We have one.
that thing is gone.
What?
Yeah.
Carling Black,
They
What
drank
was it?
it.
Carling Black
the
Label.
Carling Black.
They
Yeah.
drank it.
Drank it, he said.
Last season it was a 4-team format, remember?
And that was the last one. So what's going to happen now is Black Label / Carling is going to sponsor what used to be the old Telkom
Telkom, yeah.
Knockout Cup.
Okay.
So essentially, there is no pre-season competition that's going to happen. Does the Emirates Cup
So you're
still
not going to
play?
get excited?
I wanted to ask you, is there still Emirates Cup?
I don't think so.
I think it's gone.
Who's gonna fact check that? Because we're gonna
There's
get,
not
we're
enough
gonna all
money
get
playing
buried,
games
you
in
know?
England. You have to go play your games in the US.
Because by the time they come back, it's probably Community Shield is like now, right? No.
Yeah, 2 weeks. What?
Yeah, it has to be 2 weeks because it has to be end of
A week
July.
before the season starts. Because the season starts on the 4th of August.
Yeah, so it's the week before, the Sunday before.
Ooh, City's playing who again?
Burnley
On the Friday?
It's
Yes.
Pep against Vini.
Yes, it's happening. Emirates.
Emirates Cup.
Yes, it's happening. It's going to be the Emirates Stadium Wednesday, the 2nd of August.
One day. Oh, yeah, but they play 4 games in that day or something, eh?
Yeah. Yep,
On the 2nd of August. Okay, but I think Arsenal is playing on the Saturday.
probably.
Probably, but then Hey, but don't they have Community Shield before that?
We can check.
Community Shield would be the week before, the Sunday before the start
So
of the
this is
season.
a Wednesday, 2nd of August. Hey, we're just making things
So
up.
Community Shield will be the 6th of August.
Huh?
Yes.
But the season starts
Starts on the 11th,
Ah, there we go. So there you go.
Oh, season starts on the 11th.
the Friday.
Okay, so the
Oh, the
Community
4th.
Shield start is...
Oh, the 4th is the start of our league.
Locally.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I think that's where the confusion happened. Sorry, Bolas. The 4th is the start of our league. Sundowns, Kukuna United. I think
Yes,
that's the
that's
first
when
game.
we start. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we...
Hi. Oh, I thought you were waving. Sorry.
One last thing to say.
I also have
'Cause-
one last thing.
Okay,
Cool.
Well, it seems like we can't do an onside ZA without talking about Black Leopards.
What have they done this time?
Oh yeah.
Ex-Real Madrid
that
youth coach,
Spaniard,
Alejandro
coach.
Dorado.
Yes. Alejandro.
The
New
third one in
manager.
our Premier League now.
Alejandro.
Third Spanish.
Yeah.
So it's Alejandro, it's the one in
Franco.
Amazulu.
Yeah, Franco,
and
Pablo
Riviero.
Franco, and our one, Orlando Pirates.
Riviero.
Rivera.
Okay.
Next, Pep.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think,
Next Pep, ne?
Yeah, we need
Definitely.
Pep next.
yeah, we need
I
Pep.
just need to see him in a suit.
I thought we
that's all.
have a pep in this country.
Mang Rulani. Aye, man, yeah. Hi,
No,
man.
that's not. No, actually, we do.
It's
And
a
yes,
Pep
it is
light.
Rulani.
Ah, it's a pep line.
Keep Pep Cell.
Pep from...
Oh, snap. Speaking of things, did you hear what happened with Terrence? Jugamanja.
Yeah, I saw.
1 minute you're a Pirates player. Next thing you're like, no, I'm going home because I've got family things and what. And then Gavin Hunt is cooking with you.
Hey, guys, they cancelled Seven Delon in South Africa, and now PSL's making new drama shows.
No, right?
Hey,
New telenovela.
this is why.
I was not ready for that one.
This is why. This is why they're making space. They're making space for a PSL drama soap
But there's a
opera.
lot. Speaking of drama, friend, what about Raw AM?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
but their
The thing was
transfer ban was
overturned,
lifted.
right?
Yeah.
No, but then the Samir's lawyer says that it's not been suspended. In fact, it's still in place. It's just that there are certain terms. So the NSL is able to suspend something, but not the entire thing. I actually have the full story here, but it's not completely suspended.
Okay, we'll talk nonsense. Find the full story.
Yes, please.
We're gonna talk.
Actually.
Yeah, look, if you are a player
Yeah.
and Royal M approaches you, run.
But also, in saying that, if they can't sign players now, currently, right? So say they're banned for you.
Yeah.
What happens for them next season with the current batch that's there?
Who are
What-
also
what do you
leaving
mean?
One by one. You check, Elias Pelembe also left.
Yeah, Pelembe left, Potsane left, joined Chiefs. So I don't know why they're also releasing players. With that cloud over your head, you should
But
be.
maybe
you
players are
should be-
tired of being paid with envelopes on the field.
That's one thing. But the thing about Royal M sometimes is that they have a bit of arrogance.
Yeah, not a bit, a whole lot.
You know what I mean? I mean, you remember when they were meant to be promoted and then there was some technicalities when it comes to numbers.
Yeah.
And Silkune got promoted and they were like, no, we're not going to stay here. So that's when they bought the status of Bloemfontein Celtic. So
Yeah.
they tend to have these types of things where they just don't necessarily follow the rules or they just use, the racks that they got. So I wonder how this one's going to go.
And I think they're gonna pay a very, very massive school fees because running a football is not easy, guys. And you can see with Royal AM that they're really struggling. There's so many rookie mistakes that they're making. I think this season they're gonna be done their way.
Probably, I think Mamkize is ill-advised.
That's what I'm saying. I think she meant well, but I don't think she has surrounded herself with people that are gonna take her brand, Royal AM brand, forward. Because it's just stories after stories, So I think they're gonna struggle. I think this season.
I mean, you look at what
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
As Kukune was able to do. I mean, they come from down there. They came up. They look like they're relatively solid.
Yeah.
TS Galaxy, yes, they might have bought their way up, but they look like they're relatively solid. Swallows, like Tepi was saying now, they come from the gutters to end up where they are now. They look like, the ship has steadied kind of thing. Who else comes from lower league that came up and they look... Because it Chiefs, the Pirates, the Sundowns, the SuperSport United,
Naturally.
Cape Town City, those teams, that like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's a structure here.
That's true. I'm still trying to find that statement.
No,
I
it's
think
fine.
it's actually on my phone.
to
but
Sundowns.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Maseko to Sundowns. From SuperSport United.
Have they signed him?
Looks like it's going to be a done deal.
You know what I've learned with this show? It's no longer like what you call like you have to have your facts right or you get buried. It's no longer us talking banter and all of that. You need to get your
With a
facts
shovel,
right.
my
Yeah,
man.
yes.
Okay.
travel,
Well,
right?
let's not bury ourselves anymore. Let's wrap up.
One more. Cassius Malula is going to your favorite league. Sundowns actually released a statement earlier on today saying he's moving to
MLS.
North America. No, they
Oh,
said
yes, I
North
saw that.
American club.
Yes, I
We
saw
don't
that.
know
I saw
how
that.
many countries are only the USA, right?
No, but
Canada
Canada
is North
participates
America.
in
Also
Major
there.
League Soccer.
Yeah. Or it could be a
Same
Mexican.
league.
Could be a Mexican
There's
club.
Mexico also.
Mexico
But I
is
mean,
Central
not
America. Is not.
Does it fall under
North
South?
America. Yeah. Mexico
Is it
is Central America.
And then we have North, and then
North
we have obviously the
America.
Brazils
So
and the
it
South.
can only be Major League Soccer,
Okay, so we're gonna have our
even if it's Canada.
Oh yes. We were talking about thingy. We were talking about Njabulo Blom on how dominant he looks in the MLS, and that's when you say like MLS is a league of cows. Now I remember.
Did I say that? Me na lo.
Yes. You,
Okay.
you, super sub, you.
Cows and goats now.
Okay, here's your shovel. Okay.
Yeah.
There's one goat there.
Yes. You know, in the reveal, there was this kid who
There's
came
only
with
one
a-
soccer player at MLS,
who Njabulo Blom,
Lionel Messi. The rest are cows.
including Njabulo Blom.
Bury me.
There was this kid who went to the reveal with a goat that had a pink bow tie around.
I
thought that was so
Inter Miami.
Yeah.
No,
David
it's well
Beckham was
marketed.
beside- David Beckham
Can I
was
ask you
beside
guys
himself.
something just before we wrap up,
Yeah.
right? Do you guys think with the Messi move, and I think we touched on a little bit, Marco, because I mean, obviously MLS is less physical, right? Do you think this move for Messi, when he moved, he had the next World Cup in mind?
No, he had his Major League Soccer franchise in mind. That's all.
And his bag.
And it's nice and close to Argentina. It's shops. It's just a nice
telling
Miami.
you
Everyone
guys.
speaks Spanish. He's making money. He's gonna own his own franchise in 2 or 3 years, like a David
Two of
Beckham.
his buddies are there.
Hey,
Sergio is there.
Messi is still gonna surprise us and play in the last
he's a
World
good
Cup.
No
player. He's a good player.
no
but
way.
Watch.
I don't see it.
Busquets is there. Jordi Alba is there. His former chomies from Barca. They welcome
you-
to Miami.
Did you
know?
see? Did you see? By the way, the announcements post on Twitter that they announced Sergio Busquets, but they put Jordi Alba's face. They put the wrong picture. They put Jordi Alba kissing a World Cup. When they announced Busquets, they're confused.
Americans are still getting.
They're getting used to it.
They're getting
okay,
into it.
give them a chance.
Yeah, let's
I'm
give
going to
them a
give you
chance.
guys all a chance. You're Harry Maguire. Where are you going?
I'm Harry Maguire. If Newcastle comes knocking, I'm going to Newcastle. Champions League, baby.
Okay. If you are
Declan Rice. I'm going
Romelu
to Arsenal.
Lukaku, are you going to go to Juventus after saying 2-3 years ago, I will never join Juventus?
I'm going to Megan.
He must go to the MLS as well.
He already said no to Saudi League. Just
And Inter is not up for grabs. Yeah.
Inter have
Chelsea
left.
he's out of favor with
Aye.
Chelsea by the looks of it. And I also heard, I think this morning, that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang it looks like he's in the plans of Chelsea. So,
Wow, okay.
hey, I'll swallow my pride and go to Juve.
Just go. It's Juve. Okay. And last
Yes,
one.
tips.
Frank Kessié, you playing games at Barcelona, but you're not playing many games at Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go to Juve? No Champions League.
Yeah.
No conference.
Nah.
Nothing.
But conference I'd rather go no conference than conference.
Jump ship, man. Jump ship, go to Juventus.
Because he's not part of the plans.
Yeah, jump ship and go to
It
Juventus.
looks like, what's his name? Xavi does not have plans for him.
I like that answer anyway.
Jump
I love
ship.
Juve. So
Dembele is not moving, right?
no, it doesn't look like it. It would take a lot for that deal to happen. Barcelona don't have the money to replace him. I don't think it's going to happen. Anyway, guys, thank you so much.
Are we
Tepi,
done?
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you, Super Sub, as always. Len,
Sub, boom, boom,
thank
boom.
you. Stay on side. Don't be offside. Use VAR if you must. Oh yeah, new onside rules next week. Remind me.
Yes.
Whistle.
We out of here.
Peace.